Bogdan, how are you, man?
I am perfect.
You good?
Pleasure to be here, man. Yeah, very good, very good.
Okay.
Can't complain.
You're good. You can't complain. So welcome. Today's going to be an interesting day. So we're going to interview this client, Bogdan. Bogdan, how do you pronounce your last name? And you got a cool last name.
It's a Mikov.
Mikov, where does that come from?
It is Macedonian.
Macedonian.
It is, yeah, it's Macedonian.
Okay. Now, see, you're the cool guy. So Bogdan, you live over in Dubai.
Yeah, for the last 10, 11 years, just starting now.
Yeah. So last decade, you've been over to Dubai. It's late at night. It's like 11 o'clock at night, I think, your time. And man, I wanted you to be on here. Like, a lot of times we always interview 1 to 2 new clients or, clients every single week since we started this Facebook group. We've interviewed like 50, 60, 70 of you so far. And sometimes there'll be somebody we interviewed that started with us 2 years ago in the training. And sometimes there'll be a guy that started 8 months ago. And then we'll have other guys like you that literally started 3 months ago in the training. And we're like, man, this, let's interview this guy. Because I think it even makes it more real for somebody that's new, that joins the group on what they can do once they learn the right skills. And your story inspires me. It's very impressive, from where you were 3.5 months ago compared to where you are right now, and the struggles you had like before you came here into the training compared to where you're at right now. And the great thing is you're still like barely starting. Like you probably really have only learned maybe 20% of the process, 25%. So when you really get it down, and even like another 3 months from now, you're going to be probably doing 20, 30, 40% more than what you're doing now. And that's where it starts to get really exciting and really profitable as a sales professional. So real quick, and then what Bogdan has agreed to do, we're going to break down a sales process for you and give you some of his questions that we've taught him how to use and the psychological powers they have and what not to do. And then at the end, he's going to give you his top 2 closing questions that he uses to get the prospect to seal the deal in their own mind. He's going to give those to you for free. He's not even going to charge you for those that we gave him. I love that. Now, if you're brand new, real quick, and we'll get back into this. If you're brand new to the Facebook group, you don't know who the hell I am. So I'm the chairman and founder of an organization, a company called 7th Level. And we're an organization that helps sales professionals exactly like you watching this right now. So we help salespeople. We help coaches, sales executives, sales management, and entrepreneurs and business owners. And we help you transform the way you and your team sell by learning specific skilled techniques and questions that actually work with human behavior rather than work against it. Bogdan knows that now. He's taken the red pill in the matrix instead of the blue pill you used to take.
Exactly.
So we're going to talk about that. Those are called neuro-emotional persuasion questions. That stands for NEPQ. So when you hear NEPQ, that's what I mean by that. Teach you the right tonality, put your prospects at ease, eliminate sales pressure. Like just disarms your prospect where they want to open up to you. They feel comfortable. They want to engage with you and actually persuade themselves to your way of thinking, to view you as the one who's going to get them the results that they're after with whatever product, service, or industry. And we train hundreds of different industries at this point. Now, if you want to know more details about our training programs, we have over 20 different training programs, depending on your industry, income you're at now compared to where you want to be, or if you're the business owner, same thing for companies as well with our B2B department. If you want to know more details about how we can help you sell a lot more of your products and services like we've done with Bogdan and thousands of other clients, in the comments section in the last 2 years. In the comments section, post hashtag NEPQ. So post hashtag NEPQ, and either me or someone on my team, Matt Ryder, our CEO, or somebody else on our team, maybe Marco, our vice president, we'll message you more details to see if we can help you as well. Bogdan. So let's get to you. Nobody cares about me, the boring guy. All right. So let's go back really in time. So you're now up to about 20,000 in commissions, just in start of really your 4th month. That's what you're on pace to make this month. Okay. But 3.5 months ago, you were not there. And I love interviewing somebody like that's brand new to our training that really goes through it and like quadruples income in a couple of months or even more. So describe to us where you were at 4 months ago. Like what was your life? What did your life look like when you first, because I think you got into sales. How long ago did you get in sales?
Well, I got into sales I don't know, probably like around 7, 8 months ago, if we can count everything. Previously, before that, I was having a job in Dubai, high executive manager in one of the biggest food and beverage companies in Dubai, managing a couple of nightclubs, like 5 nightclubs, 3 restaurants, and all these type of things.
You worked there in Dubai as an executive, you managed some nightclubs, you managed some restaurants, and then COVID happened, and well, what happened?
And COVID happened, and boom, overnight, the people that were paid the most were laid off, you know.
So you lost your job like overnight.
So I lost the job, and it was a previously difficult year because all of my savings that were there previously, for unfortunately reasons, I needed to spend them health-wise for the family members and all these type of things. So I never hoped that I was going to be such a broke person if I stay without a job, you know, and I needed to find a solution.
Yeah, because you helped some family members. You didn't have much savings there. You financially were helping a lot of people. You lose your job because nobody plans on just like losing their job from a random pandemic that happens once every 100 years or 200 years, right? So nobody plans on that. And then boom, you're unemployed, and then you get into sales. Now you lose your job. What was going on in your mind?
What the hell I'm going to do with my life? You know, like I was like, I don't want to go back home in my own country. I have already life here, you know, like absolutely friends, and I didn't know what to do. And Dubai is a pretty expensive city for people that know
for
that.
sure. Yeah, a lot of wealth.
Yeah, and a friend of mine, very grateful for that opportunity. He owns a fitness company, right?
Okay.
So he was like, listen, come, you can be a personal trainer. Here because of your sport background, but you will need to close your clients. I'm going to give you leads, and you will need to make the sale. And I was like, oh, sure, yeah, no problem, right? I can do it. Like I have done everything in my life. I can do it. I thought that looking good, you know, people will just hand you over like $2,000 for a personal training sessions. Right?
Yeah, so you're like, man, if I look really strong and some really cool clothes, people are just going to sign up left and right. So you get into fitness, and what happened?
And so he hands me over a phone, and he was like, "You're going to call the lead, and then after you're going to schedule assessment, which is going to be in their house, in their villa, or in a gym because it's one-on-one trainings. And there you do all the sale." And I was like, "Cool, no problem." The first call when I made, I was shaking like this. I was like, because I don't know what I'm doing. Literally, I don't know what I'm doing. And as per that small training that I had in that moment, usually it was like, okay, call, and you say like, okay, I'm from this and this company. You requested to call you. What's your goal?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. What's your goal? Oh, 10 kilos, 15 kilos. Okay. And when was the last time when you had a 15 kilos less? Like 5 years ago. And what you're doing now? Okay, so let's meet up tomorrow. I will come to your house and I will go do these type of things, and we'll make the assessment. And they're like, okay, no problem. What time this time? You know how many times I have been in 6 a.m. in front of their house ringing the bell, and they're not even going to open? You know, it was...
Yeah, so most people are going to no-show, right? They're just not going to no-show because you didn't pull out any emotion, couple of logical-based questions. Like nothing is there emotionally going to attach them to even wanting to show up to a sales call, right? So what type of training were you going through? Like, what were you learning from?
So in that moment, I was like, something's probably is wrong. And my friend, he used to have his coach, his mentor for his fitness company, that he was giving them classes for sales or whatsoever. So I was joining that, but I was hungry, right? And first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to buy a book, spin selling book, The Greatest Salesman in the World, Og Mandino. And then, okay, let's go in the hardcore stuff, Grant Cardone. And you know what the new sales people, what is the biggest mistake? Everyone first go objection handling.
Yeah.
You know, like objection. So me, I bought Grant Cardone, very good, this 10X book, you know, very motivational, amazing. I mean, like it, but I got also the objection handling. Yeah. I was like, this is something that I need to learn, that I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
And because it's audio book, and in my car all the time I'm playing that, then I got a virtual training from Jordan Belfort, and I was investing my time into
Wall Street, Grant Cardone, guys have been sales trainers for 20 plus years. So you go through their stuff, and what type, I mean, you should be making hundreds of thousands a year. What type of results did you get from selling that way?
So to be honest, I started doing very well, right?
Okay.
I started doing very well. But the problem it was that the moment when I come back at home, I think that I'm going to die from a headache. It was a war because all those sales coaches out there teach you that the sale starts at no, right?
Yeah.
So I need to prepare myself first for them to say no.
Yeah.
And then after, take all my armor, take all the guns and snipers out to start shooting each other to see who is going to win more.
You're like in a boxing match every day, right?
Yeah, and it was like at the beginning it was harder because if they say okay yes, and I was pushing so much, the system in the company they will send them a payment link, they will pay, and we're gonna start, right?
Yeah.
Many of them they didn't pay. Then I persuaded the company. Right. I was like, listen, for that, you're going to give me this credit card machine, POS machine. I will carry it with me in my bag. And I'm not getting out of the house until I get the payment. And that's what I was actually doing. And I started doing well, right? But it was not sustainable because I think I'm going to get a stroke. It was like not sustainable. I was losing. And I was like, it must be something that is easier. And then
you were making sales, but a lot of them were just backing out before they paid, and there's no sale there, right? Like we can say like, oh my gosh, like I'm selling so much, but until they pay, it ain't a sale, right? Because you were taught how to externally motivate them and put pressure on them to do it, but they were doing it for your reasons and not their reasons. That's why so many people were canceling before they actually started, and you don't get paid if they cancel, right? There's no sale unless they pay. That's when the sale really happens, right? So I know
it was 13 hours every single day.
Crazy, 12, 13 hours a day, killing yourself. You came in and you're like, man, I'm making $3 or $4 grand a month, right? That's just insane for all that work. And so I remember you. I remember you specifically because you bought like some type of masterclass we had for it was $100. It was like a day, a 2-hour masterclass about your script. Just, we'll give you some basic training. It's not like really our virtual training courses and the coaching that you go into with our sales trainers and myself now and all that stuff. Not even, it was like 1% of that. But I remember you being on there because we had that at like 5 or 6 Eastern at night, because I was out at my home in Arizona doing that. So it was like 3 in the afternoon my time. And it was like freaking like 2 or 3 in the morning your time. And this guy from Dubai was showing up, and there was a couple hundred people on there, that master class. And you were showing up and you had you went and got the 7th level branded shirt and stuff. I'm like, dude, that guy's a baller. I like that guy. And then a short time after that, I think a couple of days after that, you got into like our advanced I think you went right into Inner Circle. Or was it 3.0?
Right in the Inner Circle, right.
You went right to the top, baby. You're like, man, I'm going to have Jeremy and Matt Ryder and Marco like train me on these skills, write out my scripts, time into NEPQ with what I sell. And then, so 30 days after you went through that training, you went from 3,500 to what in commissions? So
what happened? Meanwhile, I changed the industry. And I was not hired officially. It was given me a chance in a high ticket industry, something that I never done in my life. And to sell over a phone, over Zoom, never done it in my life.
Okay.
So I was given a chance. Very grateful. I'm still closing for the same account, but it was like, okay, let's see how you're gonna do. And I will going to give you my personal leads. If you're doing well, then we continue working together. In that moment, I was like, I need to do something to improve my skills.
Yeah, right? I got to sell or I'm going to get fired. What do you sell now? What do you sell now?
Bizop, I have 2 accounts. One is for Shopify e-commerce, and the other one is
so you work for a company that trains people how to set up their own Shopify stores, like e-commerce. Okay, very familiar with your space. We train companies in that space too. Okay, so that first month you got into that job, you made like $3 grand or something, right?
3,500. 3,500.
3,500 is not very much to live on in Dubai.
It's only my rent for the house.
Yeah, it might even cover half your rent, or it might cover your taxi for the month, if that's the case. So then you're like, man, I got to do something. You get in the training. Where did you go? Like 30 days from that.
And I get in the training the same day when this masterclass finished. I contact the team. The team contacted me, and I was like, I want to go in the Inner Circle. But I didn't have cash to go into it. So
that's right. You didn't even have the funding to it, right? You didn't have
I didn't have money at all. And what I needed to do, I finished the first call and I was like, just give me 1 day, trying to figure it out, how to put the funding together. Start calling people. I borrowed the money. like rich, literally. I started with other people's money.
Who did you borrow the funds from?
From my father-in-law.
You borrowed the funds from your father-in-law. Wow, that's a big deal. So you got the funding. Okay, so you realize that if you didn't get the funding, well, what was going to happen? Nothing.
So I was nothing. I was like, I see a potential, and I noticed that I need to really improve my skills. I need to really learn the right skills if I want to make this a profession. If I want this to start making money and to cover my, sorry for my French, cover my ass anytime when their COVID happens, you know?
Yeah, if I want to be a salesperson that makes six figures, I've got to learn the right skills, right? Because that's only separates salespeople that make multiple six figures a year or higher compared to the ones who don't, or just the ones who don't have the right skills. That's the only thing that separates them. So you went out, you made an investment, you got the funding. And then where did your income go from the first month to the second month? Once you started to learn just a little bit.
So I started end of April, like 29th or like 30th of April. Yeah. And for May, my commission was already 7,000.
Yeah. So you doubled
I doubled completely.
So 3,500 to 7,000. Now, 7,000, that's much better than 3,500, but obviously you're not happy with that because that's just like what, 88 grand a year or whatever it is, something like that. And so then the third month, where did you go after you started learning more?
Then I started learning more. I started become even better. Then the next month it was like almost $11,000.
Yeah,
which
so
means it's a triple.
7,000, then 11,000, and then this is just the next month going into training. And I think you said you're on pace for 20,000 in commission this month.
Yeah, I'm aiming in the pipeline. I have a couple of good closes that are coming in right now, which I may make even more than 20K. Yeah, this is something that I would like to make. Yeah.
So from $3,500 to $20,000 in commissions in what, 3.5 months, 4 months?
Okay. Correct.
Now, why do you think you made that type of jump? Was you just like motivated and just outworked everybody? Or was it just you knew what to do and you knew the questions to ask that made your closing percentages go way up?
I start learning what questions to ask, when to ask them, and how to ask those questions.
But what do you mean by, okay, so that, what do you mean by you started learning the right questions, but you said I started to learn like when to ask the right questions. What do you mean by that?
Well, you need to find the right moment when you are going to ask a certain question, especially with the NEPQ. If someone says it's expensive, what that means, right? Most of the people will going to start being defensive and say it's not expensive. This is the quality. We are the best and we are doing this and we are doing this. But for me, expensive doesn't mean anything because I don't understand it. And I will clarify in that moment. I was like, what do you mean by expensive?
How do you mean by it's too expensive? Right? You have to clarify because to one person, too expensive could mean they just don't have the funding. To the next person, it could be you're too expensive compared to a competitor that they're already talking to. To another person, too expensive could mean I won't have the funding for 3 days. To another person, too expensive could mean I need a payment plan. It could mean completely different things, right? And if you just spout off some type of rebuttal, you're just hoping and praying that you pick the right one, but everybody's different, right? So that's just an example of a clarifying question, right? That most salespeople don't even know that, which is like so basic, right? So let's take you back now that everybody knows kind of your story. Okay, for the next 15 minutes, I want to focus on your sales structure. So when you first got into this new sales job, before you got into NEPQ, did you do inbound leads or outbound leads?
Outbound leads. I'm doing outbound leads.
So people respond to some type of website for the company you work for, and then they have you call them back. They've requested some information. So they're showing some interest, but they're obviously not like laydowns or anything. So before NEPQ, what were you saying when you called back those leads? Go back in time, 4 months ago.
Going back in time, while I was doing that was the fitness, right? And then they leave their phone number on the Facebook page or something, and then I need to call them. And I was like, hey, this is Bogdan from this and this company. What's your goal? What's your fitness goal?
So just they're like, what's your goal?
What's your goal? You know, like, and they will be like, oh, I want to lose 15 kg or this type of thing. And I was like, hey, and when was the last time when you had a 15 kg? And it was like, oh, 5 years ago. So what happened in between? I got pregnant. Okay, cool. So let's meet tomorrow and let's go to see if we
Yeah,
can.
so they taught you how
just
to ask a few consultative surface level questions that are logical based. They give you a logical based answer in return. But do people buy on emotion or logic? 100%.
Emotion,
100%. Yeah, brain studies have proven that at this point, according to behavioral science. So because you asked logical based questions only, surface level, and they stayed surface with you, they were not emotionally tied in to doing anything about this problem that really didn't seem like a big problem yet. And that's why they no-showed you, right?
Absolutely. And it was kind of a big frustration because you book a time on your calendar where you need to drive maybe half an hour to reach to that place. Maybe you get stuck in traffic and you're there. There is no show. It's a ghosting. You're calling and they say, oh, sorry, I forgot. I mean, you didn't forget, but it was not really important to you because I didn't deliver.
And it wasn't important not because of them, but because of what you were taught how to say didn't help them see how important it was, right? We have to take responsibility as sales professionals. If that's our profession, and that's what we get paid to do, we have to take responsibility that it's our fault, not their fault, right? So now when you're calling outbound leads, because we've written out your connecting questions, obviously your whole sales structure, we've written out tied in NEPQ to what you sell specifically. That's what the Inner Circle program is, along with a lot of the other training in the group training that we do with our sales trainers and I. How do we have you start those calls now?
Well, no, I mean, it's a big difference.
Yeah, what's one of your connecting questions that we've written out? Give everybody.
I will call and be like, hey, John, like this is just Bogdan from this and this company. It looks like you responded to one of our ads about possibly starting your own online e-commerce business, and I just had some time to come back to you to see if we can actually help. Is this appropriate time?
And what do they say?
Most of the people, yeah, I have 5 minutes. Yeah. I have 5 minutes. And I just go inside, like, I mean, you inquired like a couple of days ago. So I should probably start off by asking, have you found what you are looking for, or are you still looking?
And what do they say?
And it was like 99.9%. It is like, I'm still looking. Can you tell me, do you know what you're looking for? And
what do they do?
And I said, and they'll be like, I want to have a business, that is I can work it from home, and I can spend some time here and there. And I'm like, okay. And just out of a curiosity, when you went through that website, and what was it about the ad that sparked your interest?
And why do we have you ask that question? What does that psychologically do with the prospect?
Because psychologically, they go back in time and they recall in their mind what actually was that attracted them. And so they go there, they see working from home, they see in their mind what
reminds them
low investment.
Yeah, because when they respond to an ad, they get kind of excited, right? There's like this spark of interest and like curiosity, but then that fades. That could fade 10 minutes later, right? Because maybe they respond to 7 other ads, and then their tires go out, and then their kid starts crying, and a day later, they've completely forgotten. So we have to take them back in time, especially with outbound leads. We train companies that do cold calling, outbound leads, inbound leads, a book on the calendar, door to door, B2B, B2C, it doesn't matter. There's little tweaks there. So that's a few of the connecting questions that we taught you how to ask. So before, people were doing what? Trying to get rid of you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, listen, I don't have enough time. Like, give me a call tomorrow, or I will give you a call back. I will give you a call back in 5 minutes. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and nobody does, right? But now, because we've taught you the right tonality with the right questions to engage them, what are prospects now doing?
Now they start engaging and they start opening because the tonality is there. You're not pushy. You're not there because you're there just to see if you can even help in the first place.
Yeah, because you might not be able to help them. Yeah, right. So they're wanting to engage, like they're wanting to open up to you. It's not because of just them. If you would have called that same lead the old way, they would have shut you out. Fight or flight response. What we all have to understand is that within every, and with every sales interaction you're ever involved in, whether it's in person, whether it's in a boardroom meeting, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's on the phone, whether it's on a doorstep, whether B2B, B2C, it does not matter. Your prospects are picking up on verbal and nonverbal cues based on your tonality and what you are saying and asking that triggers their brain to react in one of two ways. Now, if you don't understand human behavior, okay, if you don't understand NEPQ and you come across needy and pushy and attached to the sale, hey, Mr. Prospect, do you have 2 minutes to talk? You're attached, okay, because nobody believes that you only want 2 minutes. Obviously, they're not stupid. It triggers their brain to not trust you. And they go into fight or flight mode, and they try to get rid of you very quickly with the objections you used to get. Well, can you just call me back? I'm kind of busy. Or, hey, I'll call you in 5 minutes. I'm just busy. Then they never call. Or, we're not interested in that. Or, it's too much money. Or how much money is it going to be? Can you just send me some information by mail? Can you just send me a quote? Can you send me a proposal? And boom, they're gone. Now, if you know the right questions to ask, if you know the right tonality, if you know how to come across detached from the sale initially when you first start talking to them, and really throughout the conversation, it triggers their brain to want to open up to you, to engage with you. There's a couple reasons for that, which we won't go into. One of the main reasons is it causes their brain to become so curious that they feel like they want to and have to engage with you. Otherwise, they might be missing something that could be very important for them. Okay. All right. So they connect with you. You've got them engaging. Now we're going to go right into your situation questions. I don't want you to give out the 3 or 4 or 5 situation questions that we have you do for your industry, but what's one specific situation question that you want to find out about that person or about who you're calling?
Let's say, so John, before we met today, were you out there looking for, businesses you could start where you can make more money and have a little bit more time for your family? Or what were you doing about trying to find your own business?
That's right. That's one of your solution awareness questions. And I want to come to that in a second. Let's go to your situation questions. One of your first situations. I confused you. No, I'm not offended. Don't worry. You don't offend me, dude. You don't offend me.
I apologize for all the okay. So
I think with one of yours, what do you do for work now? What do you do for a living?
Usually to connect with them and not to sound very weird, I would ask them so are you looking for, let's say, e-commerce to be like your full-time or a part-time occupation? And then most of the time they will be like, full, part-time for beginning. And what do you do for a living now?
Yeah, because why do you want to find that out for what you sell?
This is important first to see if they are qualified, if they have a job so they can afford the product. And at the second time, I want to guide them down the line to find out why they really want to change their job, what they're doing in there.
You're wanting them to see what their current situation is first and foremost. Because once you get them to see what their current situation is, and then eventually in solution awareness, what their future will be once the problems are solved that you're able to help them find throughout this conversation that they didn't even know they had before you started talking to them, or they didn't know how bad their problems really were or what the consequences were if they didn't do anything about solving them. They don't realize that until we get on with them. Most people do not realize what their real problems are when you first start talking to them. That's why you should never sell to need. There's so many sales trainers out there that sell to their needs. Well, that's dangerous because you're assuming the prospect knows what their needs are when you first start talking to them. You are assuming that they know what their problems are. Most prospects don't know what their problems are. So if you don't know the right questions to ask that help them see that not only do they have this one problem, but you're able to help them see that they have 2 problems or 3 or 4 or 5 other problems, you become very valuable to them. You become the expert in their eyes. You become the trusted authority. And it doesn't matter if your product or service are 10% more, 20% more, 30, 50% more. They're going to buy it over your competitors because they view you as someone that's going to get them where they want to go, get them the results they want over all these other salespeople that they just view as trying to sell them something, stuff it down their throat. Okay. So let's go into problem awareness questions. So problem awareness questions, I'm going to have you give an example of one you use because there's several different ones that we've written out for your sales structure for your space that you need to have, but I'll have you give you one. But problem awareness questions help them find out what their problems are and why they have the problem, like the root cause, and then what the problem is doing to them. What's an example of a problem awareness question we've taught you to use?
So John, the job that you have now, do you like what you do for a living now?
Yeah. And why do we, so we're focused with your industry because these people are coming out of a 9-to-5 job. They want to start some type of business. It could be real estate. It could be Amazon. It could be e-commerce, Shopify. And they're using that as a vehicle with what you sell, with anything that we sell. We're not selling the thing. We're not selling the e-commerce stores. We're selling the results of that thing. The results of that thing is for them to start their own business, make more money, have more time. That's what we're selling, not the thing itself, right? Everybody has to understand that, okay? If you sell insurance, you're not selling an insurance policy. You're selling the financial protection that gives the person and beneficiary when they die. That's what you're selling. If you're selling a car, you're not selling them a car that just drives them from A to B. If that was the case, they can just go get like a freaking cheap motorcycle or scooter, right? You're selling them the results of that car. Maybe it's better gas mileage. Maybe that's their concern. Maybe it's more room for the kids. You're selling them the results. Maybe it's the prestigious of how that car makes them feel among their neighbors. That's what you're selling, okay? Every industry is different, but you're selling the thing. You're selling the results of the thing, not the thing itself, okay? So going back, so, you know, and there's a reason why you did that pause there. Why don't we teach you how to do the pause? So do you like what you're doing for a living? Why do we teach you to do that pause rather than say, do you like what you're doing for a living?
Because it has more emotional impact, and so they can go even deeper in the inside of themselves. Do they really like it where they are right now at the moment?
Yeah.
And they start recalling that it's like a certain emotion booster, where they will start realizing where they are. It's just at the beginning on their realization, right? But that is when the first step.
Yeah.
And you have only two possible answers, right? Yes, they like it or they don't like it.
Yeah,
So
or they might be in the middle. They might be like, well, we do, but, right, they hem and haw, right? Now, depending on how they answer, then we teach you what question to ask next, right? Which we don't have time to get into that, but that's very important. You've already given us a solution awareness question. Let's skip it. So solution awareness questions, you gave us an example a minute ago, basically help the prospect see where they're going to be. So here's their current state. Here's their objective state. Your solution awareness questions help them see what their future is going to be once all of these problems are solved that you've helped them find in the problem awareness stage. Okay, we just give you a little example of that. All right. Now, right when they see that and they're like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so great to change. And they're telling you why they feel this is going to help them the most, even though they don't really know everything about it yet. Okay. Notice how that happens. Then we want to ask a consequence question to rip that future away from their mind to get them to defend themselves on why they have to make the change. Why do we do that?
Probably the most important part, because they future paced so much and they imagined how their life will be better. Yeah. Having that type of business, making this type of money, traveling there, and everything they future paced. And then what is the consequence of inaction? So they just, you pull it down and you ask, what if nothing changes? And they're straight away, oh, that's gonna be a big problem. Yeah. So
you willing to settle for that?
Absolutely. And builds up that urgency so much to start. To start right now.
Yeah, it's just like this. Like, what are you going to do if nothing changes, though? Like, if you just stay in this job, same income, the next 5, 10, 15 plus years, that would be the consequence question for your industry.
Correct. Or like, have you considered the possible ramifications if you just stay where you are in the same job, having the same income, and being worried about your future every single day? What happens then? And they're like, well, I don't really want to be there. It's like, how are we going to look on a day-to-day basis? Yeah, that's going to be proper shit. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It gets them to defend themselves on why they have to do it now. Then you transition right into your presentation. I think, do you do a 1-call or 2-call close?
I do a triage first, and then it's 1-call close.
So yeah, okay. So it's more of a 2-call close because you're doing a triage, then you're going into a 2-call close. And like I said, you sell more. It's more of a B2C type of sale for the most part. You'll sell some B2B in there for what you do, but it's a quicker sales process because it's a lower price point. I think you sell like 5, 10, 15 grand services, right?
15, 25, 30, 40.
All the way up to 30, 40. All right. Well, when I say B2B, I mean, we have some clients that sell, $1 million sales, right?
Correct.
In my mind, it's smaller ticket, right? But yeah, it just depends. We got B2C that sell $1,000 products to 5,000 to 30,000 like you, 40,000, 50,000. We have B2B companies that sell cybersecurity to Bank of America for $3 million, or, sell SaaS for $1 million for this company. I mean, it's kind of all over the board there. So let's get to the end here. So what are your two closing questions? So you do the presentation, you go through, you match up, everything they said they needed and the problems and how your company's able to solve it and what that means for them. And all the dots are connecting. And then you want to, instead of saying, well, are you ready to get started? Or like, okay, we can start training you tomorrow or the next day, which it's going to be like those.
Yeah, that was previously like, okay, so when is the best time for you to train? Morning or evening? Evening. Okay, so when do you want to start? Tomorrow, after tomorrow? And they're like, whoa. Well, I didn't say
I was going to do that. Yeah, right. Yeah. The assumptive sale, which doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work very well. You get a few sales. All right. So at this point, so what closing question do we have you use?
So, John, do you feel like this could be the answer for you?
Yeah. Why do we have you do that? That's a simple question, but why is it so powerful?
First, the word feel, it is to connect them with the emotions, right?
We wouldn't want to say, do you think this is the answer for? Because then they start thinking. When we say, do you feel, they start feeling it. And when they say, oh, yes. And then the second question is, so would you mind telling me why do you feel it is though? Yeah.
So, and they start explaining, so because guys, you do this, because you this, and if you're going to help me with this, you're going to help me with this. Okay, there. And the second committing
so they
question,
tell you why they feel like it's going to be the greatest thing for them. And internally they're telling themselves, they're persuaded themselves.
Yeah. Super powerful. And then after it is the second one, which is kind of like, so do you feel like this is something that you can do to take your business where you want to be? And I was like, yes.
Yeah. Do you feel like this is something you can do to really get you where you're wanting to go in your life for what you sell, right? Now that it'd be tweaked if it was something different, right? You're not going to say that for insurance sales or car sales or SaaS sales, a little bit tweaked differently. Now, how do your prospects react when you use those committing or closing questions now compared to the way you used to try to close?
Because it's very smooth. They are relaxed. They are relaxed. They understood their situation. They understood the importance of change, and they don't feel any type of a pressure. But it's a question: do you feel like this is something that you can do to get where you want to go in life? Yeah. They're like, yeah, of course. And when they repeat why they want it to themselves, it's even more powerful. Because I'm not saying anything. I ask.
It builds urgency in their own mind why they have to do it now. And then you go through a little process that we've taught you to take the next step, and for them to purchase, which we won't get into that today. I'm not going to spill all the beans for everything that we've taught you. We just gave them like 1% so far, not even that. All right. Hey, Bogdan, I can't thank you for being on here enough. Very powerful today. Your story is inspirational. This is your 4th month here. You've gone from $3,500 a month in commissions to now this month, you're on pace to make 20,000 commissions. Last month, you made around 11,000, and everything's starting to change. And the great thing is you're still learning. Like 6 months from now, $20,000 months will actually be low for you.
Well, that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to me, for me to be here and just share my story with all the people there that are looking, because I would say that no matter what happens in your life, it's your decision. Are you going to decide to become better and change your situation or not? I didn't have the money, but I have been resourceful.
Where would you be right now financially if you didn't go out and find the funding to get in the training?
I'm going to be very, very, very bad. I don't know where I'm going to be physically first.
Your whole life would be different. See, these type of decisions, success is just a choice. We have to choose to invest in the right training to lead us to success. These type of decisions not only affect your life, they affect your family's life, they affect your client's life. It's a butterfly effect that literally affects your future children and family's life for generations to come. These are your decisions that you have to make. So next time, think about it. Do I want to stay where I'm at, hardly making any sales, not making very much money? Even if I'm making low 6 figures, I'm just stuck here, I'm capped here. Or am I going to be like Bogdan and all these other clients that invest in the training, double, triple, quadruple, or more their commissions, and now their family's lives for generations to come are impacted by that? You can either impact generations to come financially based on good choices to choose the right training, or you impact them negatively because you're too scared to invest in yourself to get to a higher level as a sales professional. I mean, it's really just a choice.
Absolutely.
But
we
your
decide
choices
how we're
have
going to live our
consequences.
life.
Yeah, 100%. Bogdan, thanks for being on here. You better get to bed. It's almost midnight there in Dubai.
It's still work to be done.
All right, brother. I'll see you soon. Thanks for being on.
Take care.
You're the man. Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here, right over here. Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're gonna help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.